Hey folks, Fernando doing our video for more survival. It's safe for this video. It's short, just a few seconds, but there's 5 life-saving tips that you want to keep in mind. It's a video about an officer responding to a almost naked woman in the side of a river. Let's watch it. It's just a few seconds long, and let's comment after that.
The body cam shows Deputy Cody Colangelo approaching the driver, Leah Day, walking along a beach.
What's going on?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
Alright. Were you just in a crash? Ma'am, come up here. Don't walk away.
Day was sobbing as she spoke to the deputy. She walked away. Deputy Colangelo walked down the dock stairs as he kept trying to talk to her.
Walk upstairs, alright? Let's get out this water area.
I don't wanna. I'm scared.
You're scared? Alright, let's walk up here. Let's get off this water, okay? Don't run. Slowly walk.
So that's it. They stop it there because she stabs the officer in the neck with a knife. So this is kind of like a horror movie situation. This grim, image of her in the side of the river there in the shore, all wet, almost naked, really. And how all of this turned to the worst in a matter of seconds is quite telling. Hey, there's 5 very important lessons here that you want to keep in mind. You probably see these already, but if not, let's go through them. Number 1, we're talking about a female. This is a woman. We naturally tend to feel that a woman is not as dangerous because she's not going to be as strong as a man. That's all very much true. Now, she may have a weapon. And if she has a weapon, that really changes that balance. So she may not be able to beat you in a hand-to-hand combat situation. But if she has a weapon, that table will turn very fast. So tip number 1, keep that in mind. It doesn't matter if someone is a woman, how big or small she is. I've shown in a previous video about a very petite woman. She went with a knife after like 5 or 6 cops. There was even a dog involved. They had to shoot her down. So woman almost naked, which is something that you may feel she couldn't be hiding anything, right? She's a little woman, wet, sobbing like crazy. Probably something horrible happened to her, and she's not as dangerous. Well, that could end up costing you your life. Number 2, which is something also very obvious, which is number 2. Show me your hands. If I'm not seeing your hands, then there's something to be very concerned about. She's trying to keep her hands concealed. That's never good. Officers always say, show me your hands, show me your hands. They always say that. In this case, because of how, probably because of how all of the situation is presenting itself, this poor, desperate creature in the side of the river, soaking wet, almost naked, he didn't ask for that. He would not, if this had been a dude, he would have asked, hey, can I see your hands? What do you have? Show me your hands. He wouldn't have done that with a man.
Down the dock stairs as he kept trying to talk to her.
If you notice something else, there's moments in which she does have her hands a little bit closer, but also notice one thing. The light is so bright that it's just shining back at him. Careful with that. Sometimes you have a super bright light, and maybe that's not good for you. Maybe 5,000 lumens is a little bit too much for something that's just a couple feet away. And it's like burning everything white, and you're not seeing details, right? A knife is very easy to conceal, especially a smaller knife that's not always as visible. Even if it's something of a brighter or more visible knife, it may not be. And I'm actually looking for mine that I have here somewhere. A knife is not always all that visible. Something like this, this blade like that, it should be shining quite a bit. But if everything looks shiny white, then you may not see this. Look how white this looks. And I only have a light here for the camera. A light that powerful may just paint everything reflecting white, okay? And look how even the clothes are not, you can just tell her hair, but even the clothes she's wearing, it's all just a white silhouette, okay? So careful with that again. But point number 2, show me your hands. If you're not seeing the hands, be extremely careful. There's probably a weapon involved.
Ma'am, come up here.
There she has both hands that you should...
Ma'am, come up
But
here.
again, maybe a small knife,
Don't
maybe
walk
hitting
away.
behind her back, you don't know. But it's a
Dane
bad
was sobbing
sign
as she
that she's
spoke to
not showing the
deputy, who
hands.
kept trying to talk to her.
Number 3. What's going on here? I don't see the hands, the light, no, but the distance. He's super close to this woman that is probably hiding a weapon behind her back. So distance is also key here, all right? How close are you from this woman that may be holding a weapon? And you don't know because she's purposely trying to hide her hands. Now, this is not a master strategic move of hers. She is barely capable
Upstairs, all right?
of
Let's get out
keeping
this water
control.
area.
I don't wanna. I'm scared.
She says she's scared. She's out of her freaking mind. I think she was high on some hallucinogen drug of some kind. So she's probably honestly scared. She probably thinks that the cop is a monster or a demon. This is the kind of thing that people are kind of high in some of these stuff end up thinking. She probably thinks he's a demon or a monster and voice is telling her kill him before he kills you. So she's not thinking clearly, but it's so pathetic, the picture that she's presenting, that the cop empathizes towards her in a way that's even dangerous for him. All right, but again, point number 3 here would be the distance. Too close, way too close for his own safety. All right.
You're scared?
She's scared. Also a few telltales. The hair of different colors, ring in the nose. If it was covered in tattoos, it's not that anything is bad about people that get tattoos or get piercing or have hair of different colors. Now, someone with all of those things and crying their eyes out and stressed and probably high on this side of the road, man, that's probably something you want to keep in mind and be a little bit more careful about.
All right, let's walk up here. Let's get off this water, okay?
Okay,
run,
she
slowly
just
walk.
goes, and the voices. In just a second, she just turns around, and point number 4 would be, this is super dangerous. Never underestimate a knife. At those distances, the knife is even more deadly than a handgun. I mean, the cop has a gun. It's not doing him any good, right? He almost lost his life. She ends up cutting him across the carotid artery, I think it is here in the neck, and he's bleeding to death. He barely made it to the hospital with direct pressure. Guys, information. This is crucial knowledge. This is the kind of thing that I cover in Street Survival Skills. In Street Survival Skills, I explain some basic techniques of knife fighting. I also explain the techniques of controlling that loss of blood. Here I explain that you start with those 2 basic methods, which is not just going for a tourniquet, but direct pressure on the wound itself. That's what he ends up doing. He ends up doing direct pressure with his hand, and he manages to get into the hospital. Then he needed a surgery where they took a part of an artery from his leg, and with surgery placing it so as to fix that. But man, he barely made it. So the kind of information you keep in mind here is crucial. But number 4, about how dangerous these things can be. And it's not about having a highly trained professional knife fighter. Oh, you don't know how well trained I am. No, this can be even dangerous in the hands of a drug to hell little woman that is barely capable of keeping it together. She's hallucinating, and I bet she has no formal training on knife fighting. Still, she does and does like that and almost kills a guy. A trained officer wearing body armor and with a sidearm. So this can be extremely dangerous and extremely useful in the hands of the right person in the right circumstances, of course. But what I mean is, with even in the hands of someone completely untrained, this can be extremely dangerous and downright deadly. With a little bit of training, and I do share some of that, I dedicate a bit to that, well, actually quite a bit to this sort of stuff in the book. With this kind of knowledge, and the right tool at the right moment, it may make a big difference. So you don't always have to be a master ninja samurai trained sword fighter so as to use a blade efficiently. People sometimes get caught on all this crap. Oh, I'm super trained. I did Kali ninjutsu and samurai, traveled back in time, trained with in feudal Japan. Okay. That's great. I mean, the more training you have, of course, it's better. And if you have hands-on training, but a little bit of knowledge on how to use one of these things can go a very long way. A good class or a few classes or some training with a qualified instructor is going to be even better. But any amount of training and knowledge that you have on how to use one of these things efficiently can be very valuable. And again, someone that is no training whatsoever, drugged and barely capable of keeping it together, she can still be a lethal threat to a trained, geared up law enforcement officer. Keep that in mind, okay? And directed to some of this stuff is the point number 5 I want to get to, which is the way in which you control the blood loss, all right? Number 5 would be, if possible, have Celox with you. Again, in the book, and if you look for this information, you will find references to direct pressure or indirect pressure depending on where you have your wound. Sometimes people go immediately to a tourniquet. Okay, good luck in putting a tourniquet in your neck and stopping blood loss that way, right? It's not just about always having a freaking tourniquet. The tourniquet is great, but it's even more important than having the tourniquet, having the knowledge, knowing what is it that you should be doing. Something as simple as what I explained in the book is direct pressure. Stop by applying direct pressure in that wound. Indirect pressure depending on where that is. But usually something as simple as this, you go with that, you have a good chance of stopping that. Maybe that is not enough. That's where this comes into play. If this is failing and I'm just losing blood and I feel it and you have this in your pocket, remember, you just have a few short seconds before you lose consciousness. You fall, collapse, and bleed to death right there on the floor. This could end up saving your life. So could a tourniquet, all right? But, this difference of this, you can apply it in places like your neck or your torso, stab wounds, gunshot wounds. The tourniquet is great for your extremities, and you should have one. And that's why it's pretty much required gear for lots of these guys. But above all, the knowledge of what to do in those situations. Okay, guys, I hope you found the video. I think that these 5 lessons are pretty significant in the way how all of a sudden it could really go wrong in a matter of seconds in situations that you thought, oh, this poor little woman, and all of a sudden you're bleeding to death right there and then. Okay, guys, see you in the next video. Take care.